Good evening. Welcome to another episode of What's Your Story? Tonight we are sitting down with our favorite selectman, our selectman liaison, and a whole lot more.
Yeah.
David Bancroft, welcome to our show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so we had your husband on here it's been a few years since John was on the
believe.
show. So what took you so long to get in that hot seat? Maybe because I didn't
Because
ask?
the invitation never came.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So I understand, right? This is one of the last ones. So whether you saved the best for last, or you're scraping the barrel.
Not at all. Not at all. So where did you grow up?
I was born and raised in New Bedford, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Fishing city down on Buzzards Bay, and was there for, that's basically where I grew up. But I really grew up in the town of Mattapoisett, which is just east of there on the way to the Cape Cod Canal.
Yeah. And then from there?
I was there until I was 18, and then I went off to school in Boston.
Yeah.
I went to Northeastern University, where I got a degree in business finance.
Mm-hmm.
And once I graduated from Northeastern, I stayed in the city of Boston because I worked for Bank of Boston.
Yeah, great city.
Yeah, it was a great city.
And that's one of the schools that does like a...
I did the co-op.
Co-op, right.
So my co-ops...
Love that.
Yep, my co-op... Well, my father loved that because it helped pay for the tuition. And when I think about what we paid for tuition and what you would pay now. But no, my co-ops were... my first co-op was with IBM out in New York. And then I went back and did another 6 months with them in New York. And then I worked for Fidelity Investments.
Okay.
And a place called Sippican Ocean Systems,
Wow.
which was a kind of Navy defense contractor. And I learned lots about submarines and sonar and all that stuff. Yeah, those
weren't in the service, but you...
No, I was civilian. I was in, obviously, Fidelity Investments. I was in finance, and then in Sippican Ocean Systems, I was in their finance and accounting department as a co-op student.
Yeah. Wow.
It was actually I would say it's a great school.
Yeah.
You learn an awful lot. You do get the work experience.
Yeah.
And when you graduate, you actually know how the real world works.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah.
You know how to put a resume together.
Yeah. I've heard several friends went there over the years, and that was just such a, you really get out there and, sort of get in the trenches.
You do. And one of the great lessons they taught me there, because it's a large school, and they taught me was sometimes you have to go for what you want.
Yep.
Meaning they have a lot of students, but if you want a good co-op job, you had to show up at the co-op office and you looked at the board, and they don't have time to come chasing after you.
Right.
You sometimes have to chase after what you want.
Right.
And that's why I ended up at IBM.
Yeah. So how did you get to Kennebunkport?
Kennebunkport, probably maybe 15 years ago, was one of those. Well, so back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Our family, being from the south coast of Massachusetts and being in a beach community, our vacations were in Maine.
Oh, okay.
So the family vacations would come up to Maine, up to Bucksport, Maine, where family friends who we're still friendly with had a farm, and we would go up there and learn how to milk cows and shear sheep and get eggs, and we just loved it. That's what we did.
Yeah.
So Maine was always the attraction. And so Kennebunkport probably just came up here one day, and a friend of ours had a house up here, and they offered it one day for us to use. So we came up and went to Goose Rocks Beach, fell in love with the town, and we kept coming. That year we kept coming back, and then I, being myself, started looking online for property. John, the joke was that John finally said, you cannot keep looking anymore because you're making me sick driving in this car all the time. And we found our place on Beechwood Ave. So we bought that probably 14 years ago. It was a weekend house all year round, a weekend house out of Boston. And then COVID came, and I never spent another day in South Boston. March 17th, 2020 was the last time I slept in Boston.
Wow. So it truly was right at the very beginning of the
pandemic. It was very beginning. I said, if I'm going to be quarantined or I need to be away and I can work from home, I'm doing it in Maine.
Yeah.
And it just continued. Never went back.
So now, but you're still working.
I still work for a place called Mass Development.
Yeah.
So it's an economic development finance agency for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and we do a whole broad economic development work.
Yeah.
Really came into fruition with the closure of Fort Devens in Central Mass. What to do with that? Mass development comes into existence for the purpose of redeveloping all of that.
Right.
That has transformed itself over the last 25 years into a fantastic place. A lot of kids go there to play soccer. We've got a golf course. We have all kinds of high-tech businesses that have relocated there. We have the old officers' housing that is now permanent housing.
Yeah.
We have a fire department. We have a public works department. We have to educate the kids who live there. So that's one aspect of how we came into existence. But we also finance the colleges and universities and hospitals in Massachusetts when they're putting on a new dorm or a new wing.
Yep.
And we do everything with small towns and downtowns in Massachusetts. I personally help finance the environmental cleanups of brownfield sites.
Okay. So, and is that, I mean, so you are now one of our selectmen.
I am.
And so you have a lot to bring to the table.
I try to bring common sense to the table.
Well.
I try.
And it's busy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
There's a lot going on. Yeah, there's a lot going on in town. I mean, obviously, as people know, I mean, when I came on, so it's almost a year. It will be a year in June. And the sewage treatment plant collapsed within a couple of weeks of me coming on board.
Right.
Which I literally then was like, guess what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
You know, but the great thing about it is I learned how that all works. I think I'm a pretty good communicator, so I'm able to sort of take that and translate it into a common English, let's call it, that people understand. I'm happy to take people's questions, bring them back to the town, come back. So we've had that. Obviously, we have the new trash pickup system, which for the most part has been running fairly well. But we have issues with that. I'm the liaison to the library, so I learn about the library, liaison to the planning board.
Okay.
So I get to see everything that's kind of coming up or potentially coming up. And I'm also the liaison to the Neighborhood Housing Trust, which is the affordable housing nonprofit here in town and now in the 3 towns, which we're trying to be able to make people can actually live in this town.
Yeah. So Shannon Dant, who is a neighbor of yours, but also on our library board, is also part of that trust, and was just talking a little bit about something rolling out not too far from now.
So I guess I can say it. It's now public. We will be having on Beechwood Ave. We will be having a groundbreaking in June for 6 new homes. Home ownership homes. Hopefully those will be online by the end. Well, we're in June. Let's say within a year, those will be online. But the groundbreaking will be next month. That's great. The state of Maine, through Maine Housing, has just given us additional subsidies, so we will be able to, that was just announced yesterday or the day before, we will be able to actually reduce the price that we can offer those for even further.
And this has nothing to do with habitat for me.
It has nothing to do with habitat. This was a group that was formed by the town of Kennebunkport for the purposes of trying to deal with housing affordability issues, which is a huge issue, as I think we all know, in this town.
And it's amazing how far they've gotten in a short period of time.
Yeah, we have the stuff over by the police station off of Route 9. That was the first. These will be the second homes that we're going to be able to build, and we're looking for other opportunities. We have expanded into Kennebunk and Arundel, just because sometimes it gives you a greater opportunity to find more land. Because the land prices are what can be a huge
and you got to raise money.
Got to raise the money to do it, or get the grants.
Speaking of that, do you have any fundraisers coming up?
Do I have a fundraiser?
For that?
We just had one.
You did, okay.
At the Nonantum a couple of weeks ago, and they do have a pickleball tournament coming up.
That's right.
In June.
Yeah, no, I saw an advertisement for it. Yeah, it is coming up.
So I would say if anyone wants to play pickleball, or you love playing pickleball, it would be it's going to be at the new facility in Biddeford. It would be a great opportunity to get a team together and raise some money to
That's great.
Help that organization.
Yeah. So I'm sure that it's going to be in the tourist in town and, a few other places advertising it. So we'll have to look for that. That's great.
Yeah.
So when you're not at 18 meetings a week, what are you doing?
Sleeping. Trying to sleep.
You biker or?
I am a landscaper.
Okay.
I love to actually, if I was to redo everything all over again, I would love to go into landscape design.
Okay.
I love hardscaping.
Yeah.
We have the home on Beechwood. As people will tell you, I have just kind of transformed it into a wonderful, personally, I think, a wonderful garden. I love going to nurseries and finding different, unique plants, or, from annuals and perennials to trees, that I try and incorporate into the landscape.
Yeah.
So I would say that is actually my passion.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
And it gets me outside. I love being outdoors. Winter, spring, summer, fall, I'm outside doing something. And it, the joke is that I love to play with rocks. Move rocks, find rocks. What's great around is the...
There's a lot around here.
Well,
ledge.
The ledge. I mean, I found a piece of ledge, years ago now, just sticking out. And I was like, let's see how far I can scrape this back. The joke is that it took me 2 years hand scraping it. And people now walk in like, that's amazing. I said, I actually hand dug that whole thing out. It's kind of like therapy.
Wow. It's like finding a dinosaur.
Yeah. How far can I go?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So one of the fundraisers that we do here at the library is every other year it's a garden tour. So maybe by next year we might knock on your door.
Yeah, we went on the garden tour. We went on the garden tour last year. I did say maybe. Some of the gardens are absolutely beautiful.
I'm gonna
absolutely. Some of your gardens that are on the tour are absolutely beautiful. I would have to qualify mine as a. It's not professionally done. How's that?
But that's, I mean, when you're, I think that's the beauty of the gardens that we've had on our tour. A lot of them have been your own. It's your own love, sweat and tears.
The joke is that I'm cheap too. So I buy my plants when they're at 50% off, or they're at Martin's.
But then you turn them into something wonderful. So
I do, or if they die, I didn't spend a lot of money on it. Right?
So so as far as town goes, we've got a meeting coming up in a month or so. It's the annual town meeting.
That'll be in June 12th.
Yeah, and it got switched, right? It used to be on the weekends.
My understanding is it used to be on the weekends. It's got switched. So my first one last year when I got sworn in was on the Wednesday after the election.
Yeah. And then so I guess they're going to be on Wednesday nights from
It was
now
decided. I don't know exactly what it was. For now they will always be the day after the town election.
Okay.
So that will be a Wednesday.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think the feeling was that was potentially an opportunity after work, 5 or 6 o'clock.
Right.
That it was potentially an opportunity for more people to participate, because if you got on a Saturday in June, people may be away, or graduations, or could be soccer games, and maybe Father's Day and all that. So it was kind of a situation where to move it. Have they gotten more people? I don't know. Yeah. It can also depend on what's on the agenda.
Right. Do you ever get back to Massachusetts?
I was just here this morning.
Yeah.
I just came from Billerica, Massachusetts, to here because I was doing a presentation on brownfields and how brownfields funding can work. I do still go to the office, which is in Lawrence, so I go once or twice a week.
That's a little bit of a haul.
Not as it's about an hour. It's about an hour and 10 minutes.
$4.95.
$4.95. The joke is that it takes me less time to get from Kennebunkport to Lawrence, Mass, than it does from some of my colleagues to get from the suburbs of Boston into Boston.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
So distance-wise, they have a shorter commute. Time-wise, I'm home working in my garden.
So our executive producer, Mike Kelly, might know a little bit about the traffic in the Boston area. So
it is one of those funny things. The longer you get away from it, the more you really hate it when you have to go back into it. I still go into Boston for like medical appointments.
Yeah.
And I've started to learn to take the train.
Yeah, the train's excellent.
I do laugh when people from Maine or even around here talk about the traffic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, I had to, I'm
I
at the
know.
I'm at the stoplight and I had to wait, what?
3
For
cars.
2 cars.
Yeah, so that happens in the summertime here when the traffic from the stop sign backs up to here. And I've never been out to LA, but I can't even imagine like saying that out loud to somebody that actually sits through traffic.
But that is how you know you've become a Mainer
Yeah.
or a local,
Yeah.
because you look at that and you're like, oh, when are they going away?
So crystal ball for the town of Kennebunkport.
Yes.
5 years from now, what do you see?
I can tell you what, I think we will have continued growth.
Yeah.
I would hope, and this is just a hope, is that we have some way of understanding that not everyone can afford $1.5 million. And it's getting to a point where we're not even talking. We're talking teachers, the people who work at the library. We're talking people who work at town hall.
Yeah.
We're now talking people who really are somewhat and not the others aren't professional, but you know what I mean, like make a decent salary.
Yeah.
And they can't afford to live here. And I think that's my concern.
Right.
Is that it is going to become out of reach for the average person.
Yeah. And it's not just Kennebunkport.
No, it's not just Kennebunkport. I mean, it's a national issue. It's an issue going on everywhere. I do think that I think there really needs to probably be a step back and take a look at some of the zoning ordinances. I know this is going to get me in trouble, but I mean, like the whole comprehensive thing is what is, besides the general economy, what is also preventing and driving up some of these costs. So
you're not going to get in trouble because it's everywhere.
It's everywhere,
we all have to sort of look at it.
Yeah, and we do need to sort of step back. I think sometimes what happens is problems arise, solutions are given, they're fine, but a couple of years later, another problem arises, another solution, and they just start to pile on to each other, and something else comes up, and you kind of have tied yourself into a web that you can't get out of.
Right, right.
So maybe it's time to stop and go back and look at stuff.
Yeah.
That
Well,
won't make me too popular.
No, but I know it's a lot of time that you are spending on your own time to do all of this, to be on all of these committees. So, we really appreciate what you're doing because you have to love it.
Well, as I said, and I think you hosted the candidates night, and as you asked the question, why do you want to be on the board? And I kind of just spit out because I really wanted the job.
Yeah.
And I think about it, it's been a year. I actually do enjoy it.
Yeah.
There have been some controversies, but I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy communicating. I don't agree with them all the time.
Right.
But it's just the interaction with the people and the ability. I do enjoy to be telling people how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there is a misconception of how government works or what an elected person can and can't do. And I think sometimes when people find out how it works, they can also change their perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true.
So it's been fun.
And to find common ground today
it's tough.
It's so tough, but it's so important.
It is unfortunately, that's where we are. And unfortunately, I think more elected people, the problem is sometimes you just can't get, I don't want to say good people, you can't get people who really want to do it. We had this issue in the town where we couldn't find anyone to run for office in some ways. And I would like to see more younger people involved, but younger family members, people involved, but they're busy with the kids.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would love to commit to the time,
Yeah.
but they're afraid they don't have the time. I would encourage them to really look at it.
Yeah.
I do think that town government in general, not just Kennebunkport, might need to start rethinking about how it does the ability of people to actually be involved and not necessarily involve all the time commitments that they have.
Yeah.
But sometimes it does involve.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you got to get things done.
Yeah, that's
a tough
well,
one.
I'll tell you, so it's always interesting to be, I'll sit on that side of the desk and tell how it should happen,
Yeah.
and to be on this side of the desk and go, oh, that's how I thought it should happen, but that's not quite how it works. And then there's frustration in that
Yeah,
because sometimes
yeah.
you're like, why can't we just do it?
Right, yeah. Well, because you have to have.
Yeah, you gotta have consensus,
Yes.
and you're getting back to the common good.
Mhm.
I think we do need more people who are willing to sort of say, put the partisanship aside or the
Mhm.
left, right aside, and go, what is best
Mm.
for this community
Mhm. Yep.
and all the members of the community.
Yeah.
Everyone's got dignity and everyone has worth, and what works best for the town and not just select groups in town.
Well, thank you for trying to make that happen.
Well,
So,
I'm trying.
well, that's trying is a lot. Trying is a lot. So as we wind things down, we have a little bit of a rapid fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't ask me what book I read.
Favorite? No, I won't. Favorite movie?
Oh.
Is that worse?
Yeah. Well, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Favorite movie? Throw the next one at me while I think about my
Favorite
movie.
flavor of ice cream?
Oh, anything from Rococo.
Okay.
And probably being from New Bedford or Southeastern Mass, anything coffee related.
Oh, okay.
Coffee,
All right.
coffee was always a
Yeah.
big thing.
Yeah.
Favorite movie. Boy. All right, keep going.
I was thinking you might say Jaws, but
Well, it's funny. I was thinking Jaws. Jaws is one. So I was younger when I saw Jaws. I will say here's what I'll say about Jaws. Jaws, when you look at it now, it's hokey. Okay. But that movie really did impact the psyche of a lot of Americans.
Sure did.
I don't know anyone who actually doesn't go in the water now.
I don't like
and doesn't
swimming
think
at night
about
and I
it.
can't see what's going on.
Just think about it. So I'll throw Jaws in there. Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
I think I actually had to get permission to go see that
Oh.
because being where we lived, there was a fear that this might traumatize
Yeah.
the kids.
Well, I think when.
I'll tell you another one that I loved: Caddyshack.
Oh yeah, Caddyshack's great. That's an excellent.
It's a
movie.
classic.
Yeah, yep. The when Jaws came out, I think that was when we first got HBO at our house, and Jaws was just coming on the scene, so we all had to watch it together. And it was like, the screaming that was. It was middle of the summer. It was perfect. So the screaming that was going on in our den, oh, funny. Favorite restaurant?
In town?
No, anywhere.
I'm going to say, I don't even know if this still exists, but my favorite restaurant in Boston was 224 Boston Street,
224.
and which is in Dorchester.
Yeah.
And my favorite restaurant in town, I would have to say, now that I'm a politician, I can't.
I know.
Is Chez Rosa.
Okay. I would vote for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're leaving Kennebunkport.
But they're not going far.
They're not going far, and good for them.
I think it's really good for them. So, and to, to walk a little further, I'm willing to do that.
Hey, steps.
So that's right. Get your steps in. Coolest place you've ever been?
I'm going to give you two places. One, I've been to Australia, and I would go back in a heartbeat up to the Great Barrier Reef in that area, Queensland. I have also been to, in the Caribbean, the island of Anguilla.
Oh, okay.
Went to the Cuisinart Resort in Anguilla a couple times. I like going to places that are slightly off the beaten path, that aren't overly touristy to discover maybe some peace and quiet. But Anguilla was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Blanchard's there?
I did.
Yeah.
I actually have.
I love their
the
book,
son-
Trip to the Beach.
Their son was a painter,
Huh? Okay.
and I have a couple of their paintings in our house.
Oh, that's great. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
now I may have made that whole story up.
I loved it. I love their
Blanchard's and
story. I've never been to the restaurant, but just how they got there and keeping it
so
going.
Blanchard's is on the beach on the north side of the island, and it was a very. I think we've been there a couple times.
I think, and boats can kind of like get right up there,
Yeah.
and that's really.
And the
cool.
Cuisinart Resort was absolutely beautiful.
Do you like to cook?
I am the winter cook.
Okay, so if you are the winter cook, you have 3 people to invite to dinner. Who would they be?
In the winter.
Well, because you like to cook in the winter.
Who would they be?
Who would be at your table?
That who would normally isn't at my table.
Yeah.
I would, I would say, wow, that's a tough one, man. It's like the movie. I don't really, probably because then they wouldn't come. This is going to sound weird. I would love to meet Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
Only because I find him talented in some ways, in a funny way. So there's one weird one.
Okay.
Another person I would say I would love to invite Pope Leo XIV. How's that? Since he's a new guy,
right.
I would invite him to dinner. And who else? Well, I'll take our summer resident, Miss George and Laura Bush. How's
Okay.
that?
All
They
right.
want to come.
That's 4, but that's okay.
Well,
What
they're
if-
kind of a married couple. They want.
That's true. That's 1. Okay. All right. That would be an interesting conversation.
And maybe have them all there at the same time.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. I like it. Thank you for being on our
You're
show.
welcome.
And thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Because it's tough business, but also a lot of dedication. So, yeah.
And I thank you on behalf of the entire town for all the time and effort you have put in serving this town and this library. So it has been an honor to be your last guest.
Well, yes, thank you. Thank you.
And
thank
you will be missed.
It's getting to be a little bit bittersweet right now. So, yeah.
Yeah. You've really done you're the person who I got a library card because of you.
Tell your friends. They're free.
They're free.
Thank you, David.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you all for
I'm sorry. I have to say one thing.
Yeah.
Where do I look? I have to say.
Yeah, we can look over there.
I have to say a big hello to my Aunt Joan
Oh, okay.
and my cousin Pammy
There you
because
go.
they are huge library people.
Oh, wonderful.
So she'll be very excited that I've been interviewed by the Librarian Council.
Okay.
Aunt Joan.
Awesome.
How are you?
Well, hey there. We love library people.
Yes.
So thanks to our executive producer, Mike Kelly, and thank you all for being part of our show, and we'll see you another time.